is investigating the suspect's possible links to radical Islam. At the same time, city officials are not on the same page as they send conflicting messages about a motive. The mayor says the Muslim faith has nothing to do with it, while the police point out it could be a major factor.
In no way, shape, or form does anyone in this room believe that Islam or the teaching of Islam has anything to do with what you've seen on that screen. That is abhorrent. It's terrible, and it does not represent the religion in any way, shape, or form, or any of its teachings.
He stated that he pledges his allegiance to Islamic State. He follows Allah, and that is the reason he was called upon to do this.
And joining us now with some reaction, Robert Spencer, who is the director of Jihad Watch and author of the book, The Complete Infidel's Guide to ISIS. Welcome, sir. Great to have you on the program today.
Thank you, Uma. Great to be here.
You know, it's remarkable that we had these two news conferences just minutes apart, and between the mayor and the police chief, two very different messages there. And it looks like politics is now getting into the threat assessment, even with an apparent confession from the suspect. Why do you think the mayor is bound and determined to relabel the crime?
Well, this happens every time there's a jihad attack. We see Barack Obama or whatever relevant local official immediately say, we have to understand that this has nothing to do with Islam. It seems as if their first priority is not protecting Americans, but protecting the image of Islam. Now, that's absolutely ridiculous. In point of fact, the Islamic State has called for exactly this kind of attack. They have said that they want Muslims in the United States to attack particularly police and military officers, as well as civilians, in lone wolf attacks of exactly this kind. For the mayor to deny that there's any Islamic connection is like saying, well, in 1941 some Japanese men attacked Pearl Harbor and we're still trying to figure out their motive. The motive is very plain, and what we need to start to investigate is what is the motive of the mayor of Philadelphia and other politicians like him in denying what is so obvious.
You know, you mentioned the directive that's been given out by some of the terrorist networks out there to go and shoot police officers and servicemen and women. This comes right out of their playbook, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They have a very detailed playbook on attacking American civilians, on blending into American society, on appearing to be moderate. You see in the film that this man was wearing Islamic dress. Actually, the Islamic State generally says, don't wear Islamic dress. And we know that Edward Archer, in other photographs, is not wearing it. And he's blending in with the society exactly as the Islamic State directs. Don't carry around a Quran. Don't go to mosque. And, of course, the mosque is saying that they don't know this guy, but his mother says that he was quite devout. And so there needs to be a mature investigation by the Philadelphia authorities into whether he was following exactly this ISIS playbook, since he seems to have been following it out to the T.
You know, we haven't heard any real reaction from the White House about this shooting, and there are those who are saying that the authorities should really be looking at the ideology of radical Islam and how how to counter the impact it has with folks who do want to do us harm.
Absolutely. This is the gravest omission of this entire conflict, that the one side, the whole side of the free world, is in complete denial about the ideological nature of this conflict. And we have this man right here who says this is ISIS, this is an attack based on the directives of the Islamic State, and the first thing that the Philadelphia authorities say is no, it isn't. And look, we are setting ourselves up for defeat that way. You can't defeat an enemy you don't understand, much less an enemy you refuse to understand, and that's the position our authorities are putting ourselves into.
I want to shift gears just a little bit here, but talking about keeping with the subject in terms of the spread of global terrorism, the situation that has lots of folks upset right now, the apparent coordinated assaults against women on New Year's Eve by asylum seekers in Germany, Finland, and other European countries. Why do you believe the news was kept under the radar until just a couple of days ago? Because we're seeing today protests from German citizens about the way the authorities there have been handling this and trying to downplay the impact of those assaults. Your reaction?
I think in both cases, in the Philadelphia case and in the case of the sex assaults in the European cities, the reason why this was downplayed or covered up was because it indicts the policies of the politicians in power as well as the media that's been supporting them down the line. They've been letting into Europe these hundreds of thousands of Muslim immigrants, Muslim migrants, without any regard for the fact that the Islamic State said in February that they were going to flood Europe with 500,000 30,000 refugees, and that there's no way to determine Islamic jihadis among them. There's no way to distinguish the jihadis from peaceful Muslims among the refugees. So if they acknowledge that these sexual assaults happen on such a large scale in Germany and elsewhere, they're indicting their own policies, the policies that the media has put forward, the policies that the politicians are unanimously in favor of. And if the Philadelphia mayor says that that had to do with Islam, he also is indicting the same immigration policies of Barack Obama and the policies in regard to domestic Muslims, that he's not challenging them to stand up in more firm and honest ways against the jihad ideology.
Robert Spencer, great to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.